So much of our self-worth is based on what we do for a living. And then you wake up one day and you're not doing that anymore. So what do you do with your life? I know a couple of instances where not only that, but the one person waited too long to retire and now is so old they can't get around.
Hello， 欢迎来到这一集的跟老师上床。我们今天特来宾是Bob and Sam。
你好
，Hello，
我是你们沈老师。这是一个同志的频道，每次老师找来宾坐在床上纯聊天。我们今天要找他们两个来说退休的问题。他们看起来很年轻，对不对？已经退休了。所以呢，你几岁退休的
？So I retired at 62.
That's kind of young. 那 Sam 是什么时候退休的？
大概是52岁的时候。
好年轻哦！你们是怎么开始筹划你们的退休的？
It was a very long journey planning my retirement. I started saving for retirement seriously about 15 years ago. So I was 50 years old when I started seriously planning for my retirement. My goal was to retire at 60, but I didn't quite make 60, but I was able to make 62.
你觉得50岁开始筹划会太晚吗？
It was too late to start planning for retirement. I should have started planning when I was in my 20s or 30s, and I would have 3 times the amount of retirement funds that I have available to me right now.
50岁太晚，那现在听众朋友们，你们如果现在是几岁？你刚刚说20-30岁就要开始做退休计划哦，谁会这样做啊？你们现在20-30岁，导演，请问一下，你开始退休计划了没？谁会这么早退休计划
You know, when you think about it, how long you've worked, like I started working when I was 14 years old, throwing newspapers. Now I know a lot of you watching this don't really know what a newspaper is, but it used to, a long time ago, they used to print the news with ink on paper, and then a boy would come and deliver it to your house every day. So I started, my first job was delivering papers when I was 14.
Hold on. But you did that, didn't you know, that's nothing to do with retirement though. You just try to make a living.
No, I was trying to make a living. But
Right.
the thing is when you think about how long you've been working, all of a sudden it dawned on me one day, I've got to stop working because I'm going to work myself to death.
Right.
And so that's when I decided a good age to retire would be 60 years old.
OK， 好，我现在要问就是问 Sam 一下，就是他已经开始计划，从50岁开始计划要退休，对不对？那你自己有特别的退休计划吗？
我本身是没有。之所以会退休那么早，原因是因为我老公他先跟我解释一下我们的经济状况，我们经济上许可，所以就是说他希望我也可以跟他同时退休。如果我们将来有什么计划做什么事情的话，我们可以一起做，就不会说他单独一个人做而已。
对，因为他已经退休的话，比如说他想去旅行或干嘛的，可是你要工作不能陪他去，他就觉得很无聊。
没错。
OK， 好啊，这听起来还不错哎。可是问题是，刚刚他说啊，他觉得他的钱赚够多了，所以可以退休。钱要赚多少才能退休？
The amount of money is based on what your current lifestyle is. What financial planners tell you is that however much money you're making right now every month, multiply that times the number of years you expect to live after retirement, and that's how much money you need.
基本上我们也不太清楚，因为我们也没有退休过。然后他是要请了一个专家，就是要维持你现在的消费形态，然后他会帮你计算。
当他计算过，比如说你计算预算活到90岁，然后你一个月可能要花10万块，所以这样弄起来，看你现在有多少钱，看这样够不够？
对，然后基本上他是以你要在美国生活为主。那现在又插一个话题，就是说我们现在搬来台湾了，消费更便宜，那我们有更多的钱可以花，这样子。
哦，所以你退休以后，如果搬到一个消费比较低的国家，也许你就可以早一点退休了。
对。
That was one of the reasons why we decided to relocate to Taiwan, because the cost of living here is a lot cheaper than it is in the U.S.
Oh, so you can spend even more
So
money.
I can spend less and live longer.
Right.
So,
of course you should live. I think you will live longer
every
than
couple of weeks I look at what the stock market is and then I recalculate how long I can live. Right now I can live to be about 90. So,
Right.
Congratulations.
so that's good. And still have money to live. So,
你认为你在计划你的退休的时候有犯任何的错误吗？
so retirement has 2 branches. It has a financial branch and it has a mental branch, right? And my mistake was that I meticulously planned the financial branch of it. I mean, I had the finances figured out. I knew how much money I needed to save. I knew how much money I needed to live. And I planned that very meticulously. But when it came time to retire, I realized that I was not mentally prepared to do that. In the U.S. particularly, so much, and for men specifically, so much of our self-worth is based on what we do for a living. And then you wake up one day and you're not doing that anymore. So what do you do with your life? And so that was one of the mistakes that I made. And what I ended up doing was talking to a life coach had a couple of sessions with a life coach, and we talked through some of this stuff, and it made me realize that I didn't have a plan and that I needed to have a plan. So once I knew that I needed to do that, it was easy to come up with a plan, and that's what it is. So my mistake was that I never really thought thoroughly through what else am I going to do when I retire.
OK，
退休之后，我们坦白说时间是蛮多的，然后我们也是开始在摸索。然后说，我们现在要做什么事情？然后就是我们总不能躺在客厅，就无所事事这样。对，然后
听起来蛮不错的，对我来说。
对，然后后来发现说，我们可以去旅行。那后来我们就开始计划旅行，因为反正美国有车嘛，然后有这么多国家公园，然后有很多州、很多地方我们都没有去过，所以我们就。
在美国国内，
在美国国内，对，所以我想说我没有去过黄石公园，那我没有去看过那个什么总统山，我们也不会说开车只去那个地方，那我们中途会看，我们会经过什么点，什么都市有什么好吃、什么好玩的，所以随便一出去大概就是1-2个礼拜这样子。
OK，
对，然后回来之后再好好休息一下，然后再计划下一次要再去哪里，甚至于也可以出国到墨西哥、到加拿大，其实。那个其实也蛮近的，我们就有一次我们去墨西哥住了大概1个多月这样子，哇！我们就去找那个 Airbnb， 然后就花整个月时间住在那边，然后就跟融入当地人的生活，自己煮东西吃啊什么的，然后那个住的 Airbnb 还蛮大的，还有泳池啊，自己可以烤肉。对。
不过现在告诉大家说，你们已经退休好几年了嘛，就告诉大家你们现在退休生活每个礼拜大概固定的活动有哪一些
？We go to the gym 3 times a week. We go swimming twice a week. We have a pretty large garden. We go gardening and plant our own vegetables and fruits. I love to cook, so I cook almost every night. We went to cooking school and learned how to prepare certain Chinese dishes. I have a lot more time to play the piano. I have a lot more time to spend with Sam because I never got to spend a lot of time with him and I was traveling all the time. We spend more time with his family. We spend more time with my family. And we've been doing quite a bit of traveling. So, I mean, Taiwan is such a central location in Asia. It's easy to go places. We've been on a number of cruises in the last couple of years, so a lot.
And we run a social group.
We run a social group called Asians and Friends Taipei, which you can find on which you can find on Facebook under Asians and Friends Taipei. And we're very active in our church, St. John's Episcopal Cathedral, where we are involved in that as well. So.
我会把他们上次来讲 Asian and Friends 这个机构的留在影片的最后面。我看来他们的退休生活是很活跃啦，每天都有不断的事情做，他们揽到非常多的事情在身上，所以事实上退休以后其实很忙，但是做的是自己喜欢做的事情。
没错。
You know, I have a really good friend who retired a couple of years before me, and I was talking to her about what it was like, and she told me, I don't know how I ever had time to work. I have so much stuff to do now that I'm retired. I don't know how I ever had time to work. And I thought that was kind of a funny thing for her to say, and now I realize if I had to go to work right now, back to work, I don't know when I would be able to do it. I have so much stuff I'm doing, it's like, I don't know when I could squeeze it in, so.
可是也有不同的人，就是他们事实上没有退休计划，退休后变成生活很无聊。你也看过这种人，对不对？
I know a couple of instances where not only that, but the one person waited too long to retire and now is so old they can't get around to travel or do the things that they wanted to do and saved money for their whole life to do. And then I know another person who retired way too young and is completely bored out of their mind and has no idea what to do with their time. When's the perfect time to retire? Well, I don't know. That's based on your own personal thing, but I know that for me 70 would have been way too late because I can barely get around now with my knees, and I don't know that I would have been mentally prepared to retire at 50. I probably would have made Sam crazy if I would have around the house all the time at 50 years old. So you know, I think the time when I've retired was a good time. I wanted to retire sooner, but I think 62 was the perfect timing for me.
OK， 我也听过很多人抱怨说他们计划要退休以后才能去旅行，结果身体已经不好，根本就走不动。所以我认为有时间去享受去旅行，就现在就去。然后呢，以后退休以后可以去一些适合退休人去的地方，所以多多去旅行，我觉得是好事了。请问一下，你对要退休的人有什么建议吗？
Start saving for retirement now. Because I'm telling you, when you're 20 years old and you're having a good time and partying every night, you're not thinking about that, and then one day you go to sleep and the next morning you wake up and you're 65 years old and you don't have anything saved for retirement. You should start saving now. It's never too young to start saving.
不过我自己开始从大概40多岁50岁左右开始有意识到就要存退休金这件事情，所以慢慢的把自己的钱啊，就早上刚刚说找什么 理财顾问啊，开始规划你的投资退休的生活，也不是一个办法了。希望今天的节目能够给大家一些意见，希望各位喜欢今天节目内容，喜欢的话不要忘记帮老师订阅、按赞、分享。我每个礼拜都有直播，回答你们所有的问题。现在老师跟他们玩一个游戏了，5 second rules 5秒定律。5秒定律，我们现在开始问问题喽。Name 3 Asian countries.
3 Asian countries. Taiwan, Singapore, Malaysia.
Okay, good. So Taiwan is a country, right?
Of course.
好了，我现在要问，
Don't broadcast this in China.
我现在问 Sam 了哈，请说出3种猪肉制品。
OK， 香肠、腊肉、卤肉饭。
Yeah, good, good, good. 好，现在换 Sam 要问我了。好，你先问吧。OK。
Name 3 cities in Taiwan.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, Kaohsiung, Taipei, and Hualien.
换你，对对。好，换你问我了。
说出3款红色的食物。
我的妈！糖果、香肠、黄菇桂。
红菇桂，
有
好特别，好特别。
同志朋友们都爱自己一点，不是同志朋友们都爱同志一点。我相信世界会很好。谢谢馆长，拜拜，
拜拜。
我们干，
你好。
这是个评，这我是讲什么啊
I was 55.
？No, you were 50.
Or 50, excuse me. Yes, I was 50.
Say it again. I said I want to retire today if I could.
Because working sucks.
Yeah.
You don't have time for your life. You don't have time to enjoy people around you. It's just,
Right.
you know, your entire life is consumed with working and paying bills and living.
我个人建议就是，如果你的工作是你的兴趣，事实上你一辈子都不想退休，就像 Betty White，
对，
她是个 actress， 她演戏演到90岁，她都不想退休，因为这件是你一辈子想做的事情嘛。找到一个真的你喜欢的工作，那你真的不需要很早就退休。